Hello everyone, I am Lee.
And I'm Ronnie.
And thank you for tuning in to Jupiter Juice.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, alright, love you guys. We're gonna start the juice of the day. It's not juice, it's tea. Cheers.
Throat coat.
Yeah, throat coat. There's nothing wrong with us, but we're not drinking right now.
Yeah.
No alcohol. So yeah, just get you some hot tea and we're gonna learn you something today. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So today we're talking about, it's going to be a shorter video, but it's going to be a thorough video. We're going to talk about the houses and to give you guys a better understanding of the houses, what they mean, maybe a few examples of how certain planets show up in that house. And yeah, so let's get ready to talk about the houses.
All right, so first up, the first house, obviously. That's going to be your rising sign. So the first house, I like to call it the lens. It's like the glasses you wear. So people say it's like, oh, you have on rose-colored glasses. Mm-hmm. You could have on Gemini-colored glasses. You can have on Taurus, Sagittarius, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like how you view your path going forward. It also rules your appearance, your physical body, and your kind of like sense of self and how you present yourself, like first and foremost. I would say that your rising sign, how we talked about in our last video about how it's kind of like, or maybe the video before, how it is really important to know that that's like the path that you're on, or that's like the journey that you're taking. So yeah, it's a pretty important house, but it's very like cut and dry also. It's like, okay, this is me, hi.
It's not so convoluted, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yes. Whatever planets that you have in the first house are also going to like make themselves really known. So I knew like this girl, she was the first house sun, and sometimes people say like they have like really big heads.
Yeah.
She did have a big ass head. But also big head, like big ego too.
Yeah. Because
like Aries rules the first house. Aries rules the head as well. So it rules like that body part. But yeah, for me, I have, depending on what you use, I guess in whole signs, I have Mercury in the first house, conjunct Pluto. I wouldn't say I'm like a talker. I don't know how that manifests for me. I would say people think I'm really smart off rip.
Yeah, oh my God. I think she's so intelligent.
People are always like, oh, you're so smart.
She knows everything.
I don't.
I feel like, no, but that's how you come across. You come across like you know a lot. And not like in like, I know everything, but it's like, people just feel like you know everything. They're very smart. You come across very...
Yes.
You read a book.
Yes. That's something I get a lot. People are like, wow, you must read a lot. I'm like, no. I used to, though.
Yeah.
But depending on what planet you have in the first house, it's definitely going to like manifest either in your physical appearance or your like demeanor when people first meet you.
Yeah.
Going back to the sun in the first house, too, I know that people say like that causes balding early. And that is something that I noticed.
What? Oh my God. What does moon mean? Like grow hair?
Right. Maybe big cahoons. Because it rules.
My booty.
Feminine, very feminine energy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Lilith in my first house.
Yeah.
That's yeah, it's not really it's not a planet or anything like that.
We'll get to that.
But we're gonna get to Lilith. I can't wait to talk about Lilith, child. But yeah.
So yeah, that's the gist of the first house.
Yeah, that's the first house. All right. So next we're gonna talk about the second house. So the second house, originally is ruled by Taurus. And Taurus, it's like Taurus is a very steady. Of course, it's an earth sign, very steady moving planet, and like the second house is about money and possessions on a like grand scale. But I also say it's like it's wealth, but your internal wealth as well. Like depending on what's there, I identify with that. I actually have Saturn in Placidus. I have Saturn in my second house, and Saturn is considered a hard placement, but I feel like with Saturn in the second house, like it's a really good placement because Saturn is about like long term, like steady building, and that's what the second house represents. It's like steady possessions and how you build your wealth.
I want to say Bill Gates has that placement. I want to say Bill Gates has his Saturn in the second house.
I don't know. I don't like Bill Gates, but
Ooh, but he got money though.
Yeah, okay. Hey, that's what we're talking about. But like, yeah. I'm curious as to, I'm not gonna pull up his chart, but DT, I'm not gonna say that person's name. But I'm curious what his second house looks like. I know he has like a lot of 10th house placements.
I'm gonna see.
But I'm wondering what his second house looks like. But yeah, it's about the money and everything like that. I feel like in whole sign my moon is in the second house. And I feel like with my moon in the second house, it makes me very sensitive. Like it's very sensitive. Like I feel like I'm struggling. I've never really had a hard time coming across finances. I don't think that's ever actually been a true issue of mine. But as far as like my internal wealth, that is something that I deal with, and I feel like, especially looking at whole sign, like with my moon in the second house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that's something that
makes a lot of sense because it's like your values and your emotions are probably like closely linked. Which values and emotions are already closely linked. Yeah. But I feel like maybe I definitely can see that with you. Yeah. Like your values are.
Because I always talk about, but that's how I was raised as well. And you think about the, the moon and the mother.
Right.
Yeah. It's like that.
Very instilled some values.
Yeah. And like we talk about money a lot. Like money is a thing in our family. Like I have a very Capricorn type of family. Like Saturn based family. Like we're none of us my dad was a Capricorn and he was all about the money.
Yeah.
The lottery, they play the
Benjamin.
Yeah, play the lottery a lot. My dad has won a lot of lawsuits, and like he was in a lot of car accidents, but he won like a lot of like lump sums as well. So yeah, it's a very it's a very prominent thing in my chart. But yeah, it's really that's where you can see how you make money too, like or like like different ways you can make money or like. And you could look at like the planets in relation in that house in relation to your 10th house, and you can see like that can kind of correlate with what type of career that may be good for you and how you can make your money, and also your 8th house when it comes to like partnerships and things like that. So those are considered the money houses, but the second house is the main money house.
Moving on to the 3rd house. So we're on a journey with the wheel, right? So you already got your sense of self, boom, I'm here. You got your 2nd house, these are my values. Your 3rd house is how you express those values and how you communicate with the world around you. So it also can rule like your siblings or like the immediate people in your environment. Your schooling. I know somebody who I met recently who has a 3rd house stellium, and they're like, they're in school a lot. They love school, they love to learn, they love to be in that environment. There's just something about it that really like speaks to them. And I think that's a perfect example of like a lot of 3rd house energy is that they love to be in, it's like a local little community where you're learning.
Very collegiate.
Exactly. Exactly. It also rules short travel. So if you're taking a little bike ride, you're like, oh my God, what's my 3rd house? How do I like to take short travels? Yeah. I don't know. Me personally, like, mine's an Aquarius, so I'm always... I hate taking the same route over and over again, and I feel like I can be stubborn about that. I'm like, this route again? Let's mix it up. I'm like really annoying about that.
Yeah. I like that too.
Yeah.
Like when I was out like doing Uber Eats and stuff, like I loved sightseeing. Like sightseeing in my city. I like sightseeing where I live. It's weird. It's weird.
Oh, what's that? But whatever planets are going to be... So yeah, whatever planets are in your 3rd house are kind of going to emphasize how you communicate and what tone and what way you go about things. Also with that person, their sun was in the 3rd house. So it was like showing that their dad was really kind of involved, or their dad's side of the family, I would say, was kind of involved in that with them. Because they were like going to the same school, they're very like closely going to the same college, and they're like mixing and mingling. So that's really interesting. The third house is gonna be, it's an air house. So your third, 7th, and 11th houses are your air houses. So they can be like your intellect, how you communicate, your local community, and your social network, things like that.
Alrighty, so the next house we have is the 4th house, and that is associated with Cancerian energy. So yeah, basically it's about your foundations, your family, connections, your ancestry, and stability. Really, it's where you feel at home. And so like whatever planet you have, is kind of shows like how you feel at home, or like your home life, or how you build that home life that makes you feel comfortable. And you look at, of course, what planets are there to show you how that kind of works out for you. Let's see, my 4th house is empty. So I don't really, that's not really a focus for me. It just depends on, now my 4th house right now is lit up from the transiting planets, because it's ruled by Aries.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
I'm trying to move.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move for a minute.
For me, with this energy going on, this March Madness energy that's happening in my 4th house, like, I'm realizing my home life has to change a little bit because of my current health condition. Like, I have to build a new sense of stability. So with all of that happening, it's like, it's kind of having me like retreat and rethink. And
yeah, it's definitely a very hermited house.
Yeah.
Because it's opposite the 10th house, which is the highest point in your chart.
Yeah.
So the 4th house is very like your inner private little cave and little home. Like how Cancers have their outer shell and their crab, or hermit crab.
Yeah, for sure.
Up next is the 5th house. It's traditionally associated with Leo energy. So it's where you shine, where you put your light out, where you creatively express yourself. If you look in someone's chart, you can see like their firstborn child and what's associated with that. So I think my mom's 5th house is, what is it? Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Aries. What's after Aries? Pisces? Oh, duh, I knew that. My mom's 5th house is in Pisces, and I think what I noticed about that is like, I'm kind of like a spirit. I'm the spiritual artist in my family, and I'm the only one like that in my family. So it makes sense that her 5th house is in Pisces. I'm like, oh my god, your firstborn child is like a spiritual artsy girly. So I was like, oh, that's cool. So it shows that. It can show what your kids are like. It can show how you express yourself. It can show how you express your joy. It's a very fun house, unless you have Saturn there, like some of us, like me. Then it gets a little tricky. It gets a little, you can feel a little bit cringe expressing yourself, or like you overthink expressing yourself, which everybody does to an extent, but with Saturn it's like there's a lesson there, and there's like a hesitation there that has to be like constantly worked through, constantly built. But it's not a bad house to have. I don't think it's a bad house to have Saturn in.
I don't think it's bad either. I have my Mercury there, so I'm very expressive with my creativity. I'm a writer. That's what I started doing growing up. Then eventually I evolved into singing, rapping, and things like that. So, I'm very glad that I have my Mercury there. That's how I am creative. And I don't really know. My Mercury does have a lot of aspects to it. But like, sometimes I feel like my voice doesn't deserve to be heard. But that's obviously a lie, you know what I'm saying? But I've told myself that lie. But yeah, I never really paid attention to the aspects. I just know it's like, when I went on one of those websites, it's like, oh, like one crazy thing about your chart, you have 9 aspects.
Oh yes, I think AstroChart.
Yeah, AstroChart. I'm like, oh wow, like I definitely should be expressing. I do know that, like that is like a main theme. But when I think about because you know, like astrology is also related to tarot cards, and so of course, like I associate. I'm not sure exactly what card, but I associate the Empress card with the 5th house because it's like, you know, creation,
right?
And she's pregnant, like
right.
Pregnant with
Baby.
Creativity,
Babe, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the children. So like, you know, you create children. You know, so birthing new ideas. How do you birth your creations? So yeah.
Ooh, nice. Right.
All right. So the next house we're going to talk about is the 6th house, and it is associated with Virgo energy. So it's all about your daily work, daily routines, rituals, and your health, and service.
And pets.
So basically, for example, my son is in the 6th house. I'll use me as an example. I wouldn't say I have a lot of health issues, but that is something that's prevalent in my life. Also, I feel like I still struggle with my day-to-day routine. I think I have like a couple of squares to my sun. I think the only thing that's like a really good aspect is my Jupiter trining my sun. No, sextile my sun. But yeah, it's like where you go to see like what type of work you like to do and how you like to go about that work. I would say like how you like to go about your day, how you go about completing tasks, how you go about, you know, just regular operation. It's I guess. For an example, with Gemini in the 6th house, because I'm a Gemini sun, it's very airy. It's not very strict, and I feel like because it's opposite Virgo, so it's like it is a challenge there for me as well. But I would say if Aquarius is there, it's more of an unconventional approach when it comes to routine. I would say, of course, Virgo there is very strict. Like, they know what they're doing when they get up in the morning. They know what they're doing in the middle of the day. They know what they do. You know, they have their routine.
And they look good
they go to bed. Yeah.
Because it always reminds me of the clean girl aesthetic.
Yeah.
When I think of, like, a good 6th house.
Yeah.
I think of, like, clean girl aesthetic when you have all your skincare line.
Yes. I was just thinking that. And then I was thinking about, like, them sleepy little melatonin. What's her name? Kourtney Kardashian. What's
them gummies.
Yeah, them look up. But I'm just saying that's what popped up in my head because all like influencer girls use those gummies and stuff like that. But like very like about self-care too. Like
definitely how you take care of yourself.
Yeah, how you take care of yourself, and that would explain the health part as well. Like how you take care of yourself. I'm gonna keep it real. You know, I could do better at taking care of myself. I'm very flighty when it comes to taking care of myself. Like that's the approach that I have, and you know, of course, that's why I struggle a little bit in that department. But yeah, I don't know. I just had like a little epiphany. Yeah, but thank God that's my son is the only thing up in there, because if I had something else, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know.
My moon is there.
Your moon is there. So how do you feel that affects you?
Mentally, no bueno. But honestly, it's not that bad. I feel like mental health is very, like, I have to, so if I don't do my routines and my mental health are very tied together. And if you know me on a personal level, you probably know that in some way. Yeah. It's like, I do my skincare routine religiously. If I don't shower every night, I feel like I'm going insane. Like, I'm like,
yeah.
Why didn't I shower? Then I start acting like that.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to rein it in.
Yeah.
And not be so strict, because I could be very strict.
No, you be strict with bathing now.
Yeah. I'd be like, exactly, you gotta be strict.
No, you gotta be strict with that.
Yeah. But not in a way where we're gonna crash out.
Yeah, no, not crash out, but like
get a lotion for your face, like, you know.
Yeah, I do know that. Like, but like for me, like, I haven't crashed out, but I'm feeling very weird about not being able to take a traditional shower because of my leg situation. Like, that's weird as hell to me. So,
keeps you in balance.
Yeah.
Like, all the earth houses in general just keep you grounded on this earth. So they're very important. People say the 6th house, I think it's the 6th, 8th, 12th and 4th that are like the cadent houses.
Mm-hmm.
So these are like the bad, if you got placements there, you got bad vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But really, they are like, man, they're like pivotal to your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially, I think the 6th house, I love the 6th house. I love 6th house energy.
Yeah.
I think it's very pivotal and important.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure it out because, it's one of those houses I've never really paid attention to. And then I was like, oh, my son is there. I need to pay attention to it. That's where my son is.
Grounded. It's very, very grounded energy.
Yeah.
So the 7th house is another angular house in your chart. It's going to be associated with Libra energy. It's also associated with the shadow self, projections, open enemies, marriage, business contracts, and so on and so forth. So it's like 1-to-1, like balance. So it's like the 6th house was like, okay, boom. So you made it through all the lower houses and you're like, all right, I got my routine established. I know how to communicate. I know how to show up and make money. I know how to be at home and be at peace with myself. And then you get to the 7th house and you're like introducing other people now. Mm-hmm. So it's like, how do you show up in the world in that way? Mm-hmm. 7th house energy is one of those like energies that kind of has always confused me. Mm-hmm. I think I have a hard time seeing like the mirror aspect of it. Like I get confused because then I start overthinking like, oh my god, if that's me, then that's them, then that's me, and then that's me, and that's them, and then who's who, and then I start tweaking out about it. But maybe that's the Mercury there. I have Gemini there.
I have nothing there. No. I have nothing there, and the thing is, because people say like, oh, we have nothing in your sun.
Well, in whole signs, your sun's in there. Gemini. My bad. But yeah, because you're Sagittarius rising, Gemini is opposite, 7th house.
Yeah. So, So in the 7th house in whole signs, yes, my sun is in. Wait, what the fuck? So in whole signs in the 7th house, my sun is in that house. And my partner. It can also tell you about the type of partner you may have, like that you may marry. And my partner is a Gemini, and my son is there. So
y'all cute.
It makes sense.
The lovers.
Yeah, the lovers. So that's a vibe, though.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. I noticed that, like, with me having Gemini in my 7th house, like, I definitely attract very mercurial, studious, nerdy types. And if they don't do that, then they're very, like... They be talking. Yeah. There's a lot of talking. I need, in general, like a lot of mental stimulation in my relationships. So I need a lot of like learning and growing. I like to go out and do stuff together. I love to go on little dates and explore. Like if I'm not a homebody when it comes to my partner, I like to be out and about. Yeah. I
feel that.
Yeah. So.
Alrighty. So the next house we're talking about is the 8th house. It has Scorpio energy. So this is the house of death, rebirth, transformation, taboo, sex, secrets. Is it hidden enemies? Hidden.
No, that's 12th house.
Okay. I was like hidden shit. Yeah. But secrets, occult. What else? It has shared resources and taxes. So for example, I have an 8th house stellium. And my 8th house is ruled by Leo. And Placidus, Cancer in whole sign. And basically there, it comes after the 7th house, so it kind of shows you the deeper, darker side of those relationships that you've cultivated. So that's where you get into murky territory. That's like shows how you love. So like my Venus is in my 8th house. Where's your Venus?
Either the 1st or 2nd.
Oh, okay. So yeah, my Venus is in my 8th house. And it, when it comes to like loving, I love deep because my Venus is in Cancer. I'm a very like, I'm going to be a ride or die. I'm going to show up for you. I'm going to nurture you. I'm going to take care of you. I am going, like, no matter what. It's kind of like a no matter what for me when it comes to that house. Also, it's like your shadow house. It's like where you gonna do your shadow work? I don't know. Like, for me, with it, especially with it being in Leo, it's something that it shines for me. I love my 8th house because, you know, I like uncovering the deeper, darker sides of myself and really understanding how I connect with people. It's also because I have an 8th house stellium. I don't know, I never really dived that deep on this end, but I've never really had a problem with receiving money from other people. Like, when it comes to my family, like, especially when family members die, I always get something, you know, or like I've never had like an issue with that. I also know, because it's a prominent house for me, that's how like business contracts or like, you know, like important business matters, and connection, like business partnerships. I know that's a way for me to, you know, gain resources and things like that and opportunity because of my placements there. When we talk about death and rebirth, it's not like literal death, but it's kind of like how I feel it, like as how you deal with crisis, how you deal with loss and rebirth.
Definitely see that.
I feel like with my loss and like because of like the Leo aspect, it's like it shines bright in my life. Like, it's something that it shows how my power when it comes to that, because I feel like I do, even though like I've been through a lot of traumatic events, I feel like I wouldn't go through them if I did not have those. Like, I wouldn't be able to handle those events if I did not have those placements, because of like I have my Jupiter there. You know, I have my Venus. I have really good planets there, and they're aspected. Right. They're aspected pretty well as well. So, yeah. How do you feel about the 8th house?
I think you touched on it pretty well. My 8th house is also kind of Leo, kind of Cancer. And I feel like I should probably pay attention to it more. I don't in my own chart. Like, I don't.
Why? Because you don't have any planets there.
Yeah, definitely that, but. It's interesting when other people's planets fall into my 8th house, because I notice, like, when I have 8th house synastry with people, it can go a multitude of different ways. It can either be really intense and really, like, sexual, or it's really, like, there's, like, a mystery aspect there that I'm like, there's something there. Yeah. I don't know what.
Let's figure out the secret.
Yeah.
What's hidden.
Shh.
What's between those? Never mind.
You keep it?
Oh my God, I love that. Gotta lock it in your pocket.
Yeah, that song.
Fun to the great
8th house.
Bow.
That song is 8th house. Pretty Little Liars is 8th house energy now.
So wait. Sidebar.
8th house energy.
So somebody was talking about Spencer. Spencer in this new TV show, like she a cop or something like that. They said that Spencer gonna be out being all up in somebody's motherfucking business. Lord, Spencer was nosy as hell.
She was my favorite.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, Emily was my favorite because she was gay.
I like Spencer, and I like the little, I like Hayden Panettiere.
No, you talking about Ashley Benson.
Yeah. No, I'm saying I like the Hayden Panettiere, the girl that died.
No, that's not her name either.
Yeah, no.
Hayden Panettiere.
No.
Bring it on.
No, not Hayden Panettiere. Sasha Barrett. Sasha, she got the booty, the cute little booty chin and the curly hair. I remember
she was a mean one.
Yeah, the one that died.
Yeah, Allison.
Yeah, Allison. I like her. She was
cute.
Yeah, she was so cute as a little girl. Oh my God, she was a cute little.
Oh my gosh, she played the girl off Shark Boy and
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
Oh.
What's her real? Sasha Pitts.
No, Sasha something. I don't know her name. But Hayden Panettiere, that's my girl.
Yeah, I like Hayden Panettiere too.
Like, you know who's my job the other day? Brittany Snow. I don't know if you know her.
Brittany Snow?
But she was always, in
I heard the name.
The horror movies. She was a little blonde girl. All these little blonde girls.
What's her name? Sasha Panettiere. Sasha, okay. Pretty Little Liars class. I know this is a huge tangent. Hold on.
Right.
But I need to know her name. Yeah, fuck Ashley Benson. I don't like her. She was annoying. Sasha Patiersi. Sasha Petit.
Oh,
Petit.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that.
And because she was Allison De La Renta. That's what I'm combining the names.
Well,
Allison De La Renta.
right. Allison do whatever. You don't know who Allison is? Ninth house energy. We're getting out of the darkness of the 8th and we're going into the light.
Yeah.
You have been saved. That's kind of energy because it is like beliefs and religion.
Yeah, religion and stuff. Yeah.
Higher education. It's your search for like what? It's like that girl that like goes through something really deep and she's like, you know what? I need to go on my eat, pray, love shit.
Yeah,
I need to go on my
expansive.
solo travels. Yeah. And then she goes and then she travels and she's like, I just need to find myself again. Mm-hmm. That's ninth house energy.
Yeah.
So it rules over long distance journeys, foreign travel. Yeah, like I said, higher spiritual beliefs and things like that. So you can really, I would say, you can look to this house to show like how you find your strength again, because like it's right after the 8th house, so it's kind of like how you find your meaning again after going through all that. Like after you're like, oh my gosh, like 8th house can kind of be a lot. So it's like, oh my god, I feel, oh my god, like I've been through it.
I'm tired.
Yeah, it's like, what is all this for again? What's this for again? Yeah. And then you go to your 9th house and you're like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it's a really uplifting house. Yeah. Let me see what I put. If you have any gurus in your life, you can find your gurus there. Mm-hmm. You can find what kind of gurus that you have in your life. Mm-hmm. I think in my 9th house is Virgo / Leo, depending on what house system you use. But yeah, I definitely like to go to people who are, I like people who are confident in what they know. Yes. Who like to have fun and who just kind of get to the point. I don't like to be like, I don't like to be talked to in riddles. Like,
oh yeah, please. I'm not gonna understand you anyway.
I don't think many people know that like that, but still, it's like, yeah. Anyway, but yeah. And it traditionally rules Sagittarian energy, so it's like very Jupiterian house. Mm-hmm. So the themes with Jupiter and Sagittarius can also be kind of intertwined with this house. Yeah.
Alrighty, so we have the 10th house. So the 10th house is about deals with your career. It deals with your public image, how you show up, your legacy, and also your parents. And yeah, so basically, this house in the in the TikTok world, this house is very emphasized because it deals with, that's where people go. It's like, if you have planet steer, you're gonna be famous, or you could be famous and things like that. And it's like, or you could be a public figure or something like that. So that is a very important house, especially in the social media space. But yeah, it is your legacy. Also, if you don't have a planet there, it doesn't mean like you're not gonna have a legacy. It's just not. It's not your like purpose, you know what I'm saying in life. Like it's not. It doesn't mean you won't have anything. Because I don't. Do I have a planet? No, I don't have a planet there. But you can look at what rules that house, and that can show you like what type of career you may like or you may want to get to. Get into. So it's also, I would say that's how, in relation to the second house, is how you can make your money. Like what the task you would do, or like the career you choose in order to light up your second house or whatever. Yeah. What else?
I would say like the 10th house. In like Vedic astrology, it talks about your dharma. And I guess from what, I don't know much about dharma, but from my understanding, it's like what you owe to the world. So it's kind of like something that you can't escape. And if you try to escape it, it kind of like follows you. And it makes sense because the 10th house is kind of like a spotlight. So it's like you can't really escape it. The opposite of that is the 4th house. So like we were talking about hermit energy. It's where you go to hermit. The 10th house is kind of like you can't escape that. Yeah. So while like you might have planets in the 10th house and maybe you're like, I don't want to be famous. Hell no. Or you notice that you're seen even though you don't want to be seen. It's because that you're naturally like kind of standing at the top of the mountain. Of course people are going to look at you. Yeah. But it can also add a lot of pressure. It can also add a lot of you know, kind of living up to other people's ideals, and things like that.
And that's what comes with celebrity.
It's something to be mindful of, because you can really get caught up in the like perception, because it's so much about perception to me, because it's like, again, the highest point in the chart, and even when the sun is highest in the sky, because that's how we get our angular houses. So the 10th house is like where you would see the sun at like noon when it's the highest in the sky. And sometimes the shadows look a little distorted when the sun is like that, or like I think it casts a longer shadow or something. So it's like, again, the taller they are, the harder their fall, or whatever the fuck that saying is. So I think the 10th house, like having placements there. I don't personally have placements there. I've known somebody who had a stellium there, and they were very focused on, I think their drive in life was to be what other people wanted them to be, and I don't think they realized that. Even though they wanted to do their own thing, they were really focused on being famous, and it kind of also, as I know them, I was like, it kind of seems like you're getting caught up in what other people like expect from you. So it's...
And it don't always mean you're going to be famous, baby.
Yeah.
It may show up, it may be your legacy in your community.
Exactly.
You know? Not necessarily on the big screen or, you know, things like that. This
girl said she's a teacher and she has a 10th house. She has a 10th house stellium. So she is at the front of a class every day. So all eyes are on her every day. So, like you said, TikTok astrology kind of emphasizes everybody wants to be, you know, seen and famous, and because we are in the world of...
And there are plenty of celebrities that don't have that, you know. But I do notice that a lot of the celebrities who don't have, like, any planets there, like, they just show up and they go, you know, do their own thing, and they're not bothered. I noticed, like, the celebrities, like, on that list that I looked up, they're not the ones bothered in the in the media. Like they can kind of, like, they're famous, but, like, no one's like harassing them, or they're not always like in a tabloid, or, you know, it's not some drama, unless like a president like Barack, like he has an empty 10th house, but like
but he's like chill, but
no, but like people like this one girl, they were somewhere like on some vacation, and Barack and Michelle just on like a little road thing with a whole bunch of people. It was like one of the Secret Service, and they just like rolling like with just regular whatever. But they're very comfortable. Because people bring them up a lot, but like they're kind of it's not really their MO. You know what I'm saying? Where as in DT, his son, I believe, is
I think he has 10th house something.
He got a lot in the 10th house, and like he is very like in your face.
And he shifts the people's perception a lot too.
So
10th house, don't forget, it's Capricorn Saturn energy too. So it's like there's that Saturnian element to it. So it's kind of like pressure makes diamonds. That's what they say. So 10th housers, good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
That's all I gotta say. And then one last thing about the 10th house, people say that your 10th house is your midheaven. That's not true. Your midheaven is an angle in your house. The 10th house is an angular house. I know that sounds confusing, but they are two different things. For example, my midheaven is not in Virgo like you would think. Yes. It is in Libra.
Me as well.
Yes, and it is in my 11th house. Now your midheaven can be in your 9th, 10th, or 11th house.
My midheaven is actually in my 10th house.
Yeah. Most of the time, it does fall in your 10th house. Mine happens to fall in my 11th.
Gang gang. Yeah. All right, so we have the 11th house next, and this house has, what is this, Aquarius? Aquarian energy. It is all about community, team building, friendships, things like that, teamwork, and so this is how you show up in your community. I feel, and I have a generational planet in the 11th house. I have Pluto in the 11th house, and it's in Scorpio. Okay. I feel like me and you kind of deal with the same thing when it comes to friendships, as far as like trusting friends, and community building. I feel like once we do build community, it's like it may not I mean, you never know. Maybe big, maybe small, but we're very intentional about the community we build. Very careful about the community we build. So it's just how you can build community, how you relate to friends. And yeah. What else? I don't really know so much about the 11th house. Because I don't really study the 11th house because I'm afraid of it. Like when I see, when I saw that Pluto was in my 11th house and it said friendships, community, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Transformation though.
Yeah, a lot of transformation. I've had so many friends. So many friend groups, so many types of friends.
That makes sense.
And I've always had issues where, because I'm a Gemini, I talk to everyone. So like growing up, I would have different friend groups. And these different friend groups would not get along. Like when I was a little kid, like I remember my cousin was at my house and my childhood best friend was at my house. They were fighting over being my friend, like who was going to be my friend. I'm like, you're my cousin, you're my friend. Like what? And I would just sit there. But I would find that a lot of times people would fight over who's going to be in my life. Like even when I got older, like my friends from high school questioned me about my friends in college. Like, ew, they're weird. Why are you friends with them?
Like, not your business, maybe? Or
I'm just like, what? So yeah, I've dealt with a lot of that, and that caused me to transform a lot of relationships, and I also caused me not to trust a lot because and also caused fear around relationships because it's so much transformation, and it's like now in my, I wouldn't say extreme adulthood. I'm not that much of an adult. Technically, you're not really an adult till after 36. But anyway, no, but it made me more intentional about my friendships and my community and the people that I have around me, because I need to trust you. Like, I don't need you to be sneaky. I don't need you to be unsure about you. I can't deal with that. I used to be able to deal with that. I'm not dealing with that anymore, especially in my adulthood. So, yeah.
So I got time for it.
Yeah.
I'll say my son is there, in Placidus. Right, with Chiron now. But, how that manifests, I was commonly, seen as, a leader in my communities, even unwillingly. I would just be, placed in that role a lot. I used to have, I had these two best friends, and I think it was elementary school. This is kind of where it, started. And for some reason, my teacher would be stop following her around, girls. And I'm like, they're not following me. They're just my friends. And we're just chilling. But she would always kind of try to be I don't know. I feel like that was prominent, sun in the 11th house energy. I feel like a lot of times in my communities, I'm very much, I shine in that way. But since my Chiron is there, it kind of adds an element of the wounded healer. So people do come to me a lot for they're like, Lee, tell me about this, please. What's going on?
That would make sense about your tarot.
Yeah, people would definitely come to me even before I started doing tarot. People would come to me oh man, girl, you're really good at listening, or you're really good at this and that. So I was kind of I definitely have always been a go-to person in my communities. But I had that weird friendship thing too, because that's Scorpio too energy. I had that weird transforming and just shadowy scorpionic energy. So yeah, 11th house definitely rules over friendships, communities, your hopes and wishes too, which I never really see that in the 11th house. I mean, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I never really thought about that though.
Yeah, it's planning for a future, or what you want the future to look like. So I guess after you build your career in the 10th house and the 11th house is okay, how can I join that with other people and move forward?
Yeah. Dark.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm joking.
Alrighty, so now that you made your journey around the whole wheel, and you made some friends and you found your legacy, we're going to the 12th house where it all dissolves and you start again. This house rules transcending, spiritual transcendence. Losing yourself. It rules over hospitals, prisons, isolation, sacrifice, spirituality.
higher service.
Yeah, higher service, like Mother Teresa vibes.
Yeah.
I think her son was in the 12th house, actually. Interesting. Right. So, definitely you can so it's traditionally called the house of self-undoing, because you can definitely, it's where you don't really give yourself full credit for how you show up, because it's something that goes easily overlooked to you, because it's the sign or the house that's right before your rising sign. So it could be something that you take for granted. That's why it's like your subconscious energy and things like that. So just because you don't have planets there doesn't mean that you're never gonna experience some type of transcendent spiritual journey. But it is really important to look at your 12th house to see how you go through, I think, those spiritual transformations, or maybe even how your subconscious works, or to kind of build a closer relationship with your subconscious. Yeah.
Because of course we have the same wheel. So what is it for us? It's what?
Scorpio.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius, yeah.
Oh, I can get the Scorpio part for sure. I can get that.
Right.
For real.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I feel like well, you say you don't have any planets there?
No, I have either my sun or my Mercury.
Your sun or your Mercury? Of course you do. There. Wait, duh. Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so and piggybacking off of not having planets there doesn't necessarily mean like she said, you're not transcending or anything like that, but it could be a sign that it's something that you've already mastered. And then of course you can refer to the sign that rules that house, and then you could look at find the ruler, the planet, and just learn how to navigate based off of the energy of that planet. And you can look to see where that planet is actually housing your chart. And that goes for all the houses. Just because you don't have anything there does not mean that you aren't going to be famous, or you will be famous, or you are going to have a hard time in the spotlight, or you because Mars is there in your 8th house, you're gonna crash and burn, or be the major crash out or something like that. Or or Saturn in your 2nd house. I mean, you ain't gonna, or you're gonna have the hardest time getting money. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It's just with a planet in the house, it's I feel like there's something you gotta learn. It's like a tool on how these planets in these houses are tools in order to master that house.
Yes, definitely.
That's how I see it.
It's like your little pack you got.
Yeah.
When you play games. Your little resource.
Your Chico,
pack.
Yeah. Your your armor and stuff. And so I feel like that's just what that is there for. So I think it's a very interesting thing. And, it's your toolkit. So definitely study the houses, study what the houses mean in general. Then go to the houses that have the planets in there. Look at the planets, look at how they're aspected, and what they connect to and things like that. And, just really study. And I would say go house by house.
Yeah.
Go house by house and really start learning yourself. Start with the self and end with transcendence.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can use our birth chart freebie that will be linked below to draw out your own chart. And kind of, if you're a visual person, it'll really help you kind of just piece everything together in your chart and just make it make sense for you. If you're more of a person that needs to see it in front of you and write it out, we got you. Don't worry. Link in the description for you.
Yes.
So that's available free to you and a friend.
Yes.
Because we love you at Jupiter Juice.
And also make sure you comment, share, subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe. But for real. We really trying to get out there. We trying to reach the masses. We trying to teach people things and really help people get to know themselves and to really master life. I mean, you can't be perfect, but these tools are here for a reason. We have this information here for a reason. The scientists and the researchers have done their work for a reason, and we have it. So Yeah, we really appreciate you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate the love that has been shown to us so far. And yeah, so until next time, I am Ronnie.
And I'm Lee.
And thank you so much for watching Jupiter Juice. We'll see you next Thursday.
Bye.